This is the truth. That's what y'all said this is. So if I find any lies, it's no longer the truth. It was a slow revelation. It was a slow awakening. I got a hold of the Crisis of Conscience, the Ray Franz book. Thank God, man, I was brave enough to read it. The government body was saying that we're not infallible and we're not Holy Spirit inspired. What? The Australian Royal Commission, that was a huge one.
What did you conclude after you sort of were doing your research? What conclusions did you come to?
That this is a false religion.
This is Seeds of Awakening. I'm your host on my channel. This is your home for ExJW stories or others who've woken up. And my guest today, if I could sum up in one word, is very thoughtful, very thorough, research-oriented. He loves to research and learn. He's also a musician and an artist. But we're going to dig into the story in just a second. First, make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Share this content with someone who may find it valuable. The best thing you do to pay for it is just by smashing the like button, though. Alright, so I'm bringing our guest now. He hails from my home soil, the Bay Area. His name is Stefan Helmer, and his whole world was rocked, literally, when he found out that Jehovah's Witnesses might not be all that they say they are. Let's meet him now. Alright, so we have Stefan Helmer in the house. He's from my native Bay Area. You're in San Francisco, right?
I'm in San Jose, California, but
where I was born.
Oh, really?
Yep.
San Jose, really?
Yeah, I was born in San Jose and I was raised in East Palo Alto.
Okay, good. Okay, good to know. That's good to know. Yes, sir.
So yeah, thanks so much for making some time. I know we've been trying to do this for a minute and you had some family situation going on, but thanks for making some time.
Of course. Thank you for having me, brother.
Definitely. So let's just hop into it. Where are you from? And well, you know we're from the Bay Area, but how are you raised? And tell me about how you were raised and what your youth was like.
Once again, San Francisco, California, born and raised. 25 years in the city, moved out to Oakland. I see you got your A's gear on.
Yes, sir. Oakland A's.
Yeah.
Always got to represent.
Yeah, definitely. I lived out in Oakland for about 12 years, 12, 13 years actually, and then I'm out here in San Jose, but with my wife and the kids now. But yeah, born into and raised as a Jehovah's Witness for the first 35 years. Yeah, give or take. My mother, I am the youngest of my mother and father. I have an older sister, older brother. My parents joined in, I think, 72. I was born in 80. And from the day one, I can remember, we were, the Jehovah's Witness, Hayes Valley congregation was the first thing I can remember. Up until, like I said, about 35, 36 years, I stuck to it, ups and downs, peaks and valleys, but yeah, that was what I believed.
Yeah. So were your parents devout witnesses? Were you going out in service and doing the whole deal?
Oh yeah. Yeah. My mother was a pioneer for about 15 years, I would say. 15, I don't know the years, but I remember I didn't go to preschool or I didn't go to daycare or anything like that. So I was in service with moms. She would bribe me with the little McDonald's and, things like that, and I was out there with her from what I remember. Those are my earliest memories with mom. She was a pioneer. My father was a servant up until I was maybe 9 or 10, I would say, something around that time. My sister was a pioneer for years and years. My brother's disabled, so he wasn't really in that sense, but he was, right there with us, trucking along. We were devout, as devout as any other family in the congregation,
So at what point did you get baptized? And I guess you were a Jehovah's Witness for 35 years. So I guess you got baptized and did the whole deal.
Yeah, I got baptized at 17. I was 17. I wanted to get baptized earlier, but there were just little issues with the congregation at the time. And it's not really a funny story, but I remember me and my brother were trying to get baptized at the same assembly. And we went through the questions at that time. And they actually said my brother was qualified and that I wasn't. I need to wait a year. which was weird. I never really got an answer for that. It's a strange thing. It just popped into my head. I totally forgot about that. But
Mhm.
I was trying to get baptized at 16, I believe, and I ended up getting baptized at 17 years old.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So tell me about some of the ups and downs, I guess, of being a witness, and what were some of the things you experienced as a youth, and what are some of your memories?
Um, like I've been like going through the Memorex, man, about the early years were actually, it was fun. It was fun. We went to I remember the first congregation, I was really young. I think we were at Hayes Valley congregation, and I was maybe up to about 4 or 5. So I don't have too many memories. Just one of my homies that I'm still friends with to the day. He lives in Atlanta, actually. I remember him from that congregation. I remember a few things, but we went to Potrero congregation, which was across the city. And that's where it took hold because I met one of my partners who I'm still close to this day. Shout out to Kay. Um, Real strong dude. A bunch of other bros who to this day is still like family. It's still like good times, like good vibes. But that's where I remember like going to service. I remember like my first talk, which, oh man, my first talk was I had my first talk was in Zephaniah 2. So Zephaniah is so hard to find. I still can't find it half the time. And I couldn't find the scripture in my first talk. And the brother had to bring up the Bible.
Wow. So like
Anyway,
sweating, trying to find the
I
scripture.
was trying to find, I don't know why I didn't have it marked. Maybe just nervous, man.
Yep.
And I couldn't find it. I remember brother Walton, he brought up, he said, "Here you go, bro." And I was so embarrassed. Anyways, Pachuro was where it started to like hone in, and it felt like a family. We had picnics. We all played ball, we played basketball, football. Everybody was, it was a family in that sense. Um, Pushing forward, like those were like, those growing years where everything felt like, hey, this is where it's at.
A good strong community,
A
and
good
everybody's
community, a social structure, where everyone could like powwow and everyone knew each other, and it felt like how it should feel. We went there until I was about, I think it was a change in society where you had to go where you actually lived, right?
right.
We had to go in our neighborhood. We were like, oh, we lived across the city, so we had to go to Westwood.
Hmm.
And that's where like it started to get a little funny, man. I was like 12, 11, 12. So I started to come into my own, and one of the main things I know a lot of people talk about it now is the facial hair. And, at that time it was like sideburns and you couldn't have long sideburns. And, there were brothers in that hall who they kind of were how they were. And they would, come to me and I was trying to hold the mics and do all the little privileges and things. That was one of the main things that really had me like, wait, what? And I would always ask, where is that in the Bible?
In the
Like,
Bible, yep. Same for
where's that in
me.
the scripture?
That was the issue for my father, and he
Exactly.
said he made a pit in his stomach, with the elders were like, "But the channel, your kids need to shave and all that." So it definitely a sticking
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. Yeah. It would be like a natural thing. And I wasn't trying to wear a goatee or nothing, but you
A
clean
little dirt
shave.
on the chin.
Yeah, I had a few little chin hairs, and I'm like, let me see if I can get away with it. And they weren't having it. So, but as I said in my video, man, it was the truth. This was all I knew. So it was like, okay, but little seeds were planted like, that doesn't really sit well. Those were some things that were the first little cracks where I started to get kind of like the rebellious type of spirit inside. Like, I don't agree with that. And there was no place to put that. My mother and father weren't sticklers. They weren't like, do this or else, but they went along with the
Of the
go along.
program. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to play the game. And which is what I found out as I got older. I was like, oh, this is a game. Like
Mhm.
this is all like, oh, this is a clan group thinking thing. But I didn't understand that. Um, I think, as time went on, I got baptized. I got really serious, really serious. I was always in, as a witness, but around 14, 15, I was like, I'm gonna make the truth my own.
Yep.
That whole thing. And I really took it. I started going in service even more than needed to, so to speak. And I shot towards, I'm getting baptized, I'm gonna reach out, blah, blah, blah. Uh, and I got baptized, 17. is when I got baptized. And after that, it was pretty much all downhill to keep it real.
Yep. So what happened if you got baptized?
After I got baptized, I was seeing a sister who I was, madly in love with at the time. We, witnesses, you date to get married. So we
Yep.
were we were on that train, on that atmosphere to go, hey, we're gonna get married. My homie, okay, he was with his chick, he was getting married. It's what else do you do? You don't do anything else. Um, and short story made long, like we get in trouble, private reproof, that whole thing. And that was the start of like the for lack of better words, the self hatred, if you want to say,
Hmm.
the you're never going to be good enough type of spirit started to creep in, because I always felt a little different. I'm sure everyone has that same feeling. We're like, I don't quite fit in this thing, but I'm squeezing in where I can. I'm trying to like fit in. Um, but we were, a young couple, and things happen. Fast forward, I got disfellowshipped at 20 over the same sister. And that was, in my mind's eye, like that's so many years ago, but that was crushing. That was like,
Hmm.
oh man, you have to deal with these voices. Oh, you're gonna die. God doesn't love you. If Armageddon came right now, it's cookies for you. All those type of things. Uh, and that was, but even still, like I was determined in 6 months, I'm gonna get reinstated. I'm gonna, do this and do that. Um, got back, I got reinstated, like literally 7 months. Um, and shoot, after that, I'll make it like this, bro. I ended up getting disfellowship 3 times.
Hmm.
You might have watched the video. Some people have watched it.
Yeah, I'll
Did I
watch it, but
have mental
it's
self?
been a few months, so I don't really remember all the specifics
Okay,
of
yeah,
the story.
no problem, no problem. Pushing forward, yeah, I probably didn't have the best self-control in certain ways, but I mean that's you're a
That's
young man.
human nature, though,
It's
really.
human nature, right? It's like, come on, bro. And really I was telling on myself all the time. I was
Yep.
always back room like, bro, I did this, I feel horrible. I'm just something's wrong with me. That was one of the main things I would always say. Like something's wrong with me. Like I can't, I don't know if I can do this.
Hmm.
I don't know if I can be a Jehovah's Witness. Uh so I got I got this fellowshipped again like two years later. Um and I'm thinking like, oh, there's two disfellowship. Just the whole stigma of that, especially at that time. It was like, whoa, bro, you catting off big time. Um I got reinstated again after that, messed up again with another sister who I was, getting married to. And that was 25. And after that, that was like a turning point where I was definitely still a witness, but I had moved halls. I went out to Oakland. It was a different body of elders. They didn't know me. I was more of in my rebellious stage, I guess you can say. So I was like wearing a mohawk and like had a little goatee. I was just like, whatever. I'm just doing me, but I'm at the hall. Like I'm still at the hall. I'm still trying to get back. I was living with my mother at the time, and they were very standoffish because they just thought I was bad association. I don't know. They mark you in those type of things. And then I started going back to my hall that the brothers knew me back in the city. So I would come from Oakland to the city to go to the hall every week, Wednesday, Sunday, whatever. And I applied to get reinstated, right? And I knew I was still doing things that were, quote unquote wrong. And they just saw me at the hall. They saw the routine. They saw like, oh yeah, this brother's really doing his thing. And they decided to reinstate me. And I was like, I remember being at that meeting like, Like y'all prayed over this and you still like, okay, like that's weird. That's interesting.
Hmm.
But I kind of just, suppressed that along with the million other feelings like, huh, that's odd that you would reinstate me and that you prayed over that and Holy Spirit is like, yeah, he's good. He's good to go. So I think that was one of the big cracks going forward. It still took a long time for me to really like hone in on what my intuition had been saying for a long time, you know.
Hmm.
And I'll stop there. I don't want to be too long-winded, man.
No, it's all good. So, how are your parents throughout this whole thing? What was their family situation? Is the disfellowshipping was going on and that sort of thing?
Yeah. Yeah. When I was disfellowshipped, the first time, shoot. Yeah, that's taking me back. My parents have actually divorced that same year.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was a lot of stuff happening. It was a lot of family issues. Mom's had moved. She had moved out the States. My dad, it was me, my dad, and my brother who's disabled. So it was a lot of pressure on us. Um, and mom's had kind of like, I think she got this fellowship. I'm not even sure. I think so. Cause things have happened and they broke up. And I don't, man, it's so long ago, but I think my father was disfellowshipped as well. I think my mother got disfellowshipped. And so it was a tough time in the sense that, spiritually, well, in that state of mind, we were all not living up to the standards, and that type of, congregation pressure, it puts that little dark cloud over you, which is, I now know that it's ridiculous, but at that time that you live in that life. And so they were disfellowshipped at the time. My father got reinstated, he got remarried. My mother never got remarried, and she got reinstated over time. Um, but the family, yeah, it went into a big breakup, and so it was tough in that sense, and everyone was just trying to stay above water, spiritually so speaking.
Gotcha. So,
Yeah.
what happens after you got reinstated for the third time? You kind of had some cracks. Now you're kind of wondering why the Holy Spirit didn't tell the elders that you were a
Yeah,
sinner.
yeah, that was one of them ones, man, where I was like, something's not right here. But once again, it's so indoctrinated. So like all I know, that's all you know.
Hmm.
And you believe, and I believed. I was a believer, like I'm a believer. I was a believer. It wasn't just that my mom and my dad were at the hall and I was like, all right, this is what I gotta do. Like I always was one of them young men who was like, yo, I want this.
Right.
I want to please God. I want to please Jehovah. I want to do the right thing. So it did go deep into my heart. The roots did go very deep. I just, in my nature, never felt like I fit into that role in which I seen everyone who went up the hierarchy of it. I'm like, wow, you got to do all that to do, like that seems fake and phony, but okay, this is what we got to do. So I always had that struggle, that conflict of like, how do I do that and still be my authentic self, which I'm still trying to discover as you live on in life. Um,
Hmm.
so after the third time, something was really cracking though, and what it did is it brought a big conflict into my spirit, like a very like conflicted. I was angry a lot. I was angry because I'm like, I don't understand. And I would be like, if this, I would have my prayers to God and be like, is this your organization? Like I would rather die than be in this new order, this new
Hmm.
world. Because I just I don't understand how this is you.
Sounds like something about it you really weren't feeling, but you were
Yeah.
so indoctrinated that you kind of were just going along with it.
Going along with it, man. It's just like half of me believed that this is what it was because this is all I ever knew. And then
Right.
half of something in me, the intuition was like, something ain't right, something ain't right, something ain't right.
So where did that lead you then? What kind of happened after that?
Um, Shoot.
Did you kind of just fade or
I didn't fade. I didn't fade at that time. I was 20. 6 for 27 at that time. I didn't fade. I actually went, I just put my head down and went
Mm,
back in.
okay.
Shaved on up and said, all right, let's do this, try it out again. And it never clicked after that time. I would be off and on, I would be at the hall, I would be regular, and then I would just kind of fade back out for, a month or two and just not make a meeting. But that guilt was mounting up the whole time. That guilt was just guilt upon guilt upon guilt upon shame upon condemnation upon all of it over and over and over until that's like day after day, man. It's hard. I mean, you come from that. So the everyday, the weekends, you can go out and mix yourself in with the world and do this and do that. But after it's all said and done, you got that guilty conscience that's really just telling you in your mind's eye, you're gonna die. You're gonna die. And people can sugarcoat it all you want, but that's what it's really saying to you. The condemnation is that you're not good enough. You never will be, and you're gonna die. And to hold that and to walk around and, as a whatever year-old young man who's not living foul, who ain't doing nothing that wrong, just
Right.
living.
Just living. Yep.
Yeah, just living, bro. And so that it takes an effect. I mean, if I really hone in on the young man that I was, that does something to your spirit. And so that went on, man, 27, 20, 32, 32, 33. And I think that's when I really started to fade out. I was like, I'm not playing this role no more. I'm growing my beard out. I don't care what y'all say. I'm dating worldly girls. I'm not doing this no more. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
into this. And it was a weird thing because my family and my friends never really like disowned me, so to speak. They
Yeah.
were they were like, all right, he's just kind of figuring it out. He's doing his own thing. They would always say, Steph be doing his own thing and they would kind of excuse it in that sense. And that happened all the way up until I was about 35, 36. And
Sure. I
that's
guess that's like you're an adult then, so can sort of make
yeah,
your own decisions. And yeah,
exactly.
what happens?
That at that time, bro, I was working at the water department for years at that time. Um, and it was a slow revelation. It was a slow awakening, you know.
Okay. Was
And
there
I
any
just,
one thing that sort of started it, or was it just the overall feeling that something wasn't right and that you didn't really relate to the
yeah,
organization and it just sort of snowballed?
yeah. I mean, I battled with that for a long time. I battled with something ain't right, and I would speak on it, and I'd talk to the bros and everything, and they'd be like, "You got to trust Jehovah; He'll fix it. You just got to lean in on Jehovah." And I'm like, "Nah, nah, nah. That's not good enough, bro. That's not gonna work this time. Like, there's too much that's evidently wrong with this organization." But I hadn't like tapped into the internet. I was too afraid. There was too much
Right.
fear inside of me to really like, wait, what is wrong? Um, but it wasn't really until I made a real switch in life in that, I mean, I went vegan. I was like, I'm quitting everything. I'm not eating meat. I'm quitting my job, which is a great job. I'm like, I'm tapping out the matrix. I'm getting off the grid, so to speak. I'm gonna go into, I was a musician, so I was always like, I'm really gonna hone in on the gift that God gave me, which was always shot down in the organization because there's no individuality, as you know. And if
Right.
you're doing that, you're trying to be a part of the world.
World.
Yeah. So it was something that I'd always loved music. It was always a way for me it was a way for me to be an individual, to express myself. And it was like a loophole that I could say certain things and be a certain way through music that I couldn't be as just a kid at the hall. And for
Mhm.
some reason, it was accepted like, oh, it's good music. So, cool, thumbs up.
Play
So,
instrument? Did you play an instrument?
yeah, I played piano and guitar and
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, I sung and wrote and all this stuff. So it was something I really like delved into. I mean, it could be for escapism, it could cathartic. It's a lot of reasons. Music is a spiritual thing. So it was something that I really honed in on. Um, and it helped me get through, like looking back, it helped me get through a lot of those days where, very depressed, very down on myself. Um, so at that time, 35, 36, I was like, I'm leaving my job. I'm changing this. I'm leaving this organization. I'm not doing this no more. Um, and slowly but surely, man, I started listening to a lot of podcasts, a lot of philosophers, just life, just different viewpoints on life, on
Mhm.
being a man, being a young man. What you want in life is what you create. A lot of what you speak. Things of that sort. And I was like, wow, I've never heard any of this talk. Like as a Jehovah's Witness, I'm like, why? Why not? Why not? Um, and then I don't remember exactly how I got a hold of the Crisis of Conscious, the Ray France book,
The book.
the book. And thank God, man, I was brave enough to read it because I had heard about it through the grapevine, like, oh, don't you read that? It was that fear. Don't read that
Right.
book. That book is demonic. It is, all this spooky spook stuff. And I said, what do I got to lose? I'm already leaving. Like, I'm already dead, so to speak. So let me go ahead and check this book out. I read that book in a few days, bro. And its bells just were like, boom. Like everything I thought is true, and that was the cliff where I was like, okay, I'm gone. Like I'm gone. I'm out of here. Short story right there.
So did that kind of cause you to deconstruct your life? What kind of how did you like what kind of revelation and what kind of
Mm.
like how did that change you or what did that change? What changed?
It it was like how to explain it, man.
It was like all your basic assumptions were basically verified through reading that
Basically
book.
verified. It was like, whoa, that and not all of them, but that was like a cohesive book of like, whoa. And he went into details about stuff that I had no idea about as far as the governing body and how it ran and all these things.
Mhm.
But after that, I just went deep dive. I started to watch every video, but I mean, that was terrifying. I can remember being in my apartment, bro, and just having this energy on me like, don't you do it, don't you do it. Don't press play because you're gonna get demonized, all these
You're
folk tale.
your mind's gonna get infected.
And you're gonna get infected. You're gonna go there and it's gonna get you. And being the person that I am, I've always been like, well, let it happen then. So I started watching video after video. I don't remember who it was or what it was, but it was little articles first. It wasn't any videos, it was articles about people's experience and the abuse that they suffered from these elders
Mhm.
and the sexual abuse. And I was like, bruh, like coming up, that's one of the things they hung their hat on as far as the Catholic religion and all these other, oh, they have sex offenders and they cover it up and blah, blah, blah. You see, that's where Christendom, that's where the devil is. And lo and behold, you got the same stuff happening right here at home. And that was a real eye opener, but really still hard to swallow. Like, really, the deconstruction period is painful.
Mhm.
It's very, very, very like, I always try to like tell my boys and stuff, some of them ain't witnesses. And I'm like, bro, it's like finding out your dad ain't your dad or your mom ain't your mom.
Yep.
After years and years, like, bro, you didn't like what? So it was a lot of pain, a lot of tears, a lot of nights where I'm just angry. a lot of anger, a lot of bitterness and resentment. Um, and that was for about maybe, I would say, close to a year, year and a half, bro. I just sat in my apartment and just studied. I just studied the religion. I studied the origin. I studied the doctrines, and I compared it to scripture. And I'm like, what is going on? How can you even say that this is the truth? How could you even do that? How could you pull the wool over so many people's eyes? Myself, foremost. Um, and I just really studied the religion and had to deconstruct it
Mm-hmm.
and let it, and it sounds easier said than done, let it fall off of me, retrain or deprogram myself
Right.
in order to reprogram myself, in life. And I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy, man. That's a tough time. Doing it
Yeah.
alone, like that was rough. I had a partner who did it, but even still, like he was living his life. I'm just honed in at the house, just watching videos, reading books that they said you couldn't read, and just really trying to
Make sense
take
of it all.
make sense of it, man. Take it all in and make sense of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
So did you have the temptation to share any of your findings with your family members or talk to anybody else or what
Yeah. Yeah. After time, after I can just process it myself, um, there was definitely times, group texts where I would just be like, did you know, blah, 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 blah. Did you know? Which in hindsight, probably not the smartest thing,
right.
but it was where I was at. It was so new. It was so like Australian Royal
Royal
Commission.
Commission.
The Royal Commission. I remember it was one watchtower because the thing was I would still get the daily text. I would still get watchtowers and I would read them just because who knows why. Just because I
It's
did it
part
for
of
so
you, man. It's in you.
yeah, yeah. It was
Mm-hmm.
it's still inside me. So, but now I was reading it with a different lens now. Now I'm like, wait, let me see what y'all saying. And there was one watchtower, I think, I don't remember what year it was, but when it was the government body was saying that we're not infallible and we're not Holy Spirit inspired. What? Wait, if you're not Holy Spirit inspired,
What
what
are
you
you?
inspired by? Who inspires you? Like, where are you getting this from?
Mm-hmm.
And I sent out the huge text to all the peoples like, what is up with this? And that started a little fire with all the friends and everything. But I didn't care. I was just like, bro, that's their own words. That's their own words saying. So can somebody explain it? So I definitely went in thinking back. I went in like a missile, and I probably, knowing hindsight is 2020. There's a way to go about it that I definitely would recommend for anybody else to do it a different way. But yeah, moms, I would run to moms like, Mom, did you know this, that, and the third? I would tell pops, and they just kind of had this little glazed look on their face, and they're like, "Well, there you go digging and stuff again." I'm like, "Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because this is serious, bro. Like this is
Exactly.
you
It's
talking
supposed to be
about
the truth, and it's
this
much
is the truth. That's what y'all said this is. So if I find any lies, it's no longer the truth.
yeah.
Any lie, a little, even an omission, it's no longer true. So um the Australian Royal Commission, that was a huge one. That was like, bro, homeboy just said,
that I think would seem to be quite presumptuous to say that we are the only spokesperson that God is using.
that we would be presumptuous to say that we're the only ones who have the only channel to God. And I'm like, wait, that was the whole thing is built on
Yep.
that we're the only ones. We're the only true
That's
religion.
why most Jehovah's Witnesses are Jehovah's Witnesses.
Hey, that was the hook, line, and sink. That was the bait. We got you.
Mm-hmm.
We're the only ones. And so once that happened, I did. I started sending whoever would listen, I would be like, bro, you gotta, I wasn't like you gotta get out, but I just wanted to share information.
Right.
And the thing was, somebody like I've always been like that. I was a musician and I would get in the music industry and I would be like, bro, y'all got to look at the music industry. It's wild. Like there's a lot of stuff happening in this industry that's wild. And so I would send information like, did you know that blah, 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 blah. So it wasn't out of character. It wasn't like I was being anything other than myself. It was just a new thing. And this thing was very controversial within our people. So I did. I went to my mother, my father. I didn't go to my sister much because she's not, I don't, with all respect to my sister, I love her to death. I know she wasn't ready to hear that,
Mm-hmm.
especially at that time. So I kind of just tailed off with that. But the people who I knew could handle or at least would engage, I went full fledged. Yeah.
So we're spending a few more with Stefan Helmer, who's from the Bay Area where I'm from. He's just sharing his Jehovah's Witness story with us. It sounds like you're very introspective as you're kind of going through this awakening process. So you kind of watched what family members you talked to. What did you conclude after you sort of were doing your research? What conclusions did you come to?
Uh, that this is a false religion.
Mm-hmm.
To put it plainly and simple, the very thing that they accuse people of, they are 100% guilty of the same exact thing. And dare I say the C word, but
You say it.
yeah, it's a straight up high level mind control group thinking, and it's an antichrist cult.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And the proof is in the pudding. It's the fruit in the tree. It's what it is. And that, for a long time, I mean, I swallowed it and I said, this is what it is. I mean, I can't, even to this day, I can't even tell my sister or moms. And like, we were raised in a cult. I could, we're jokesters. We laugh and we cap and everything. I can say it as a joke, but there's truth in it in every joke. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
they haven't fully embraced it yet, but it's coming. It's coming. The process is brutal. Um, a friend of mine, a friend of mine who's still in, we always talk. He'll send me scriptures. He'll send me watchtowers. He'll send me all this type of all the jargon. He'll send me dude, you need to watch the new Jesus video they got. And out of courtesy, I'll watch it. I'm like, all right, bro, I'm gonna sit down and because I pray that they do understand their error. It ain't never gonna happen, but for the sake of being a friend, I'll check it out. Send me what you got, dog.
Right.
Let's build. Let's sharpen each other. And still, it's no accountability. It's no transparency. It's just they just shapeshift like the snake behind the spirit that they are. It's a snake religion, and they just change their propaganda and they change their doctrines just like the history books do. It's the same thing that they do. And once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Very true.
It's there.
It's also very fear-based. They use a lot of fear in their mind control tactics and
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
It's completely their main fruit is fear. It's a doomsday religion. It's completely based upon fear. Like I never knew the love of God as a Jehovah's Witness. I knew the fear of his wrath.
Yep.
I knew Armageddon. The Bible book of stories, the little yellow book, is completely all fear. The revelation, dude, I was what? I don't even know how old I was, but we were studying the Revelations book at the book study.
Mhm.
The most fear-based book in the whole Bible. And it's symbolic. It's so many different, takes on the Revelation, the book, but that book will give you nightmares, especially how they presented it. The people in the streets getting shot with hailstones and, all these things and so I have a real heart for children who are in that cult. That's evil. You don't do that to children. You don't do that to innocent children who naturally are the children of God. They are naturally attracted to Jesus. They don't even conjure up fear. Fear is something that's taught to you. And that's what they did. They teach you fear and they lead with fear and they punish with fear. The whole thing is based in that. And they say, oh, best life ever, we're all love. It's all conditional. It's all based upon you stay in this box, you stay in this line, you stay in this colony, or else.
And if you stray, we're going to kick you out anyways.
We're going to kick your ass out, So that is what I've come to the conclusion of. I mean, it's a lot more dangerous of a group than people even give it credit. Honestly, I don't have no remorse in calling it what it is. Like it's dangerous. It's a dangerous, and there are a lot of dangerous cults in this world. And it's been in the past in history. There's a lot more who are here now and probably will come. But that one, 150 years, that's been killing folks for a long time with these doctrines and blood fractions and disfellowshipping and shunning and blood. The worst thing that can happen to you from a blood fraction, from taking blood, the worst thing that could happen to you in the organization is you will get disfellowshipped. Ain't that crazy? So I would rather die than get disfellowshipped. That's wild. That's evil to me. That's why, like, the worst thing they were going to do to you if you took a blood transfusion was disfellowship you. And yet, if you don't take that blood transfusion, you will die.
Anyways.
And there are countless accounts of people who died because they didn't want to break a rule. That's not God.
Right.
So those are things I found out that there's no way I could be quiet about that. There's no way I'm just going to ride off into the sunset and be like, well, I got out. Deuces, like, y'all figure it out yourself. Like, nah, man. And those are children. Most people who are like that are the people who were raised and born into that, because that's all they know.
Yep.
So I wouldn't say like I'm an activist or anything, but amongst my community, amongst my family, my daughter, my stepson, my wife, people who I know, like even my family, at first, Amani, like I went full force and I was telling everybody like, yo, this, that, this. I've laid back, man. I've learned to just let the process be the process.
Right.
And just plant seeds and just try and spread the real truth to my family. But that's hard, man, because those roots are deep.
They are. So let me ask you this, Stefan. Was she witness or was she not a witness when you got married?
Not at all. No, she comes from a Catholic background. She's not even like practicing in that, but that's her upbringing. And it's funny, like she has interesting stories about her upbringing too, about a lot of rules and regulations and traditions and things that you just do because everyone else does too, So it's not in the vacuum of just witnesses. Right. It really does venture out into a lot of different denominations. And that's one thing my mother would be like, why are you always attacking the witnesses? I'm like, that's because that's what I know. I'm like, but it's not just here. Like, don't get it twisted. Like it's everywhere, but no, she's not a witness. Nothing like that.
You're not, and your kids were never in the truth or Jehovah's Witnesses either?
Not at all.
Okay.
No, I won't allow that. My daughter was born. me and my wife were going to a wedding or something, and it happened to be the Memorial weekend, and I asked moms to babysit, and she said, "Oh, I'm gonna bring her to them." I said, "No, you ain't. You ain't bringing her to that place." And I know that's being a little overboard, but like, no, I don't want that around my child at all because I
Mhm.
live that. And it's easy to get love bombed and gas, all that. Oh, welcome, So no, children, none of that stuff. No.
So where are you now with your religious walk? Are you spiritual now? Where are you with your faith?
Oh man. Like I was retelling the story, but during that time when I had completely left and I was just on my mission to research the religion, um, even when I was working, I would get these little, now that I think back, is these little nuggets where I would get pamphlets as I was working in the field at the water department. I would get pamphlets about Jesus and about, this, that, and the third, and I would give it a read. And I'm like, okay, okay, okay. There was one pamphlet that I got, and I'll give credit to this brother. He's in Ireland. His name is David Leggy, and he just simply had the gospel right on that Jesus died according to the scriptures. He was raised. He died for your sins. He was raised on the third day, and that's it. And I was like, wait, no, 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 no. It's just too simple. Like, what are you talking about? So I read that and I was like, wait, why do I not know the gospel? Like the witnesses don't teach it. They don't teach that that's it. It's always like a Jesus plus one or plus your works or plus all this or plus us, basically. Like you have to be one of us. So I did that, man. And I remember he had a website and I was on his website and I was listening and he had this whole teaching about false religions. And he had no disrespect to anybody's religion, but he had a few religions, but then he had Jehovah's Witnesses or Watchtower Tract Bible Society. And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. He had that. So I was listening. And then at the end, he just said the simple gospel. He's like, this is how you get saved. And it was a sinner's prayer. And I said it. And I was like, you know what? Whatever. Like, what do I got to lose? I said it. And bro, my life ain't been the same. And I'm not saying that that's how anyone gets saved or anything like that. But I actually went home and I said, because witnesses, we don't talk to Jesus. We don't pray
No,
to
it's
Jesus
Jehovah and then Jesus underneath God, basically.
underneath. Or actually, he's kind of just like to the side. You just say, "Oh, in
Yeah.
Jesus' name." It's Jehovah, 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 Jehovah. Um, and I went home, and I had already found out about the religion. I had already like doing different, just radical things in my life, and I said, "Well, I might as well see what this will do." And I prayed to Jesus, and that was the first time I actually I felt a response
Mhm.
inside. Not like, the movies where it's like, hey, son, nothing like that.
Right.
It was, it was, it was my voice talking back to me. Not like I'm God, but it was like, I'm here, son. And it changed everything, bro.
Mm.
Everything. Even things I didn't even want to change. It just turned everything around. And it was just a revelation of like, wait, is this what they don't want you to find? The true freedom, the true relationship instead of religion. And after that, I just dug into my scriptures, bro. And that was with that weird Bible that I had from the witnesses too,
Yeah, I
which
still have
that's,
mine. I still have mine.
you still have yours?
Yeah, my mom got it bound special, so I kind of keep it because my mom
Oh,
passed, so I kind of keep
that's
it
sweet.
around.
Oh, that's a blessing. That's cool, bro. Good for you. Good for you.
She put the
Yeah, I
reasoning
don't,
from the scriptures book is like in the binding now, so it's kind of been modified a little bit. So it's like a special
yeah.
kind of, it was Bible made for field service, basically.
Wow. That's sweet though, man. Memento for moms.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't have anything like that, man. So I threw that thing out a long time ago.
I
But
don't blame you.
But the funny thing is, man, I I dived into that Bible because that's what I have.
Right.
And even within that Bible, and which is very strange, they change things, they put other words in here and there.
I didn't realize that they added Jehovah's name to the New Testament.
To the New Testament.
Right. It wasn't even in the New
It's
Testament, the
not in there.
Tetragrammaton. Yep.
The old Greek has no Jehovah. It has
Right.
no Yahweh. It has no, it doesn't have it. So those have been researched. You find out like, oh, wow. Like, why would you do that?
Yep.
Why? So reading that Bible, I found Jesus, Jesus, and Jesus. And after doing that, I had to, as much as my pride and lack of knowledge, stubbornness, I'm like, is it that simple? Is the gospel that simple? And I had to come to grips with that. Yo, that they never taught that. And that there's something to that. There's something to the fact that you never taught the gospel. Out of all them years, we went to all the meetings, you never taught the gospel? You never just cut it down to like, you can be saved if you believe in Jesus Christ and what he did. So, make a short story long, dude, that's where I've been for the last, really since I was 36,
Mm.
37, bro. So like about 8 years, I've just been walking, learning, deprogramming, reprogramming, um, surrendering, just being made new by Christ. That's really all I got nowadays. I don't attend no church. I went to church. I went to different denominations. It's still kind of triggering and kind of funny for me. So
Right.
I haven't found that home. And I may never find that.
Right.
And I'm okay with that. I just stay in my scriptures and I finally have a relationship instead of like tap dancing for God,
Mm-hmm.
like trying to perform like, am I good enough now?
Putting a mask on, like some sort of mask on her face for God or something.
Right. Like he know if he's God, he already knows everything. So what am
Exactly.
I hiding? What am I really trying to like, get around? Or I can't pull nothing on. I can't pull the wool over God if he
Right.
sees everything. So it's been a real like surrender is the best word um that I can come up with as to like what I do or what I don't do, what I abstain from. Of course, you want to live a life as righteous as you can, but it's not about that. It's
Right.
really not, for me, it's not about that. From what I've seen, Jesus did it, it's done. Now go live in freedom. Go live. And as a witness, you don't even live. You're looking behind your back because it's a snitch culture. So you never really live,
Yep.
So that's where I've been, man, just trying to walk with Christ and trying to like find peace, just be at peace, trying
Mm-hmm.
to be a father, be a husband, which is some of the hardest jobs you'll ever have.
Exactly. No praise for that job.
Yeah. Right. Um, and it's been hard. It's beautiful. It's everything that I've wanted, but it's the hardest thing ever,
Mm.
especially coming from where you come from, because you have to de-learn first, pull it from the root. Like I read stuff about the Israelites and how they got out of Egypt, but there was so much Egypt in them. It was so deep, and I look at there's still so much Jehovah's Witness in me that I still have to pull from the root,
Right.
you know? So I'm doing that, and I'm doing that with Jesus. And it's just it's difficult, it's challenging, it's so rewarding, and it's what I was searching for the whole time, I believe.
Hmm. So let me ask you this. Do you keep within the changes like the toasting of the cheers and the beard doctrine that's changed and the college, they now allow kids to go to college? Have you kept up with any of those changes?
Yeah.
What do you make of all those new rules or the changes?
Uh, I mean, I think it's a rebranding,
Mm-hmm.
put it simple. They're rebranding. It's a company, it's a business. They losing money, they losing people. So it's like a it's like a sports team when their team sucks. They start changing their jerseys and new colors and stuff
Change the
so that
logo. Yeah.
yeah, change the logo so that people go buy their merchandise. I know it's a bad analogy, but that's what I see it as. I try not to go too deep into it because it can be triggering because I'm like,
Yeah,
that's the stuff I was talking about. Like, it's
exactly.
stupid. But beards was unscriptural, toasting, whatever. What is it now? Wearing pants, the women can wear pants now. Like
Yep.
all these things, like that the religion, there's everything we do in Western society is pagan. Most of it is all pagan. So you're trying to like, oh, you can't do this and you can't do, dude, if you want to do that, if you want to follow the law, you have to follow every law or it's null and void. In the Jewish, if you didn't follow all 613 laws, you broke them all. So there's no point. That's what Jesus came to do is cut that whole thing. Like you
Exactly.
don't
That's what I was
have
going to
to
say, that the law of just to love one another was mainly the only law
love
that
one
Jesus had.
another, man, and that covers it all. So I do follow it. I do follow it just because I want to keep my ears to the street, so to speak. And and I'm like, good, great. I'm glad that dudes can grow out what naturally grows on your face. You got a nice beard, like that's what men do. They grow beard. Like, come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you're never accountable for what you put people through for decades over something. You never come clean like God don't change. His law never changed. The Bible don't change. And now, but you can change and say it's new light. It's a lie. It's a big lie. So I do follow it, the toasting and all. I keep my ear to it and I humor it, with the witnesses that I still am in contact with. I'm like, oh, that's cool, bro. Like, good, grow your stuff out. You should have been growing it out. But I still do. I keep up with it just to keep my ears to it, man.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, Stefan, I have some questions that I like to ask all my guests. I kind of go those questions now, kind of modify
Sure.
them for our conversation.
Yeah.
But in your mind, how would you define a spiritual awakening, or what does that mean to you?
Mm. Spiritual awakening. In my case, is to find the truth about the truth. It was to find the truth about what was called the truth. That was my spiritual awakening. The first part was that, and my second part was to find that God never wanted me to perform and do all those things in the first place. He doesn't require any of that. It's a painful revelation. It's a painful awakening because of what I was taught and what countless other people were taught. But is that there's freedom. There's freedom in God, true freedom. And to come from such an oppressive cult, that freedom, it came with a price and it comes with learning how to trust. And that's hard for me, man. It's trusting Jesus. I could talk about Christ all day, but to truly trust him when times are tough and when things don't make sense and when my life doesn't make sense, that's the awakening. The awakening is like I'm sure people the red pill, the matrix thing.
Hmm.
Man, that's hurtful. It's beautiful, it's amazing, but it comes with a lot of like whoa, I did not know. I
Mm-hmm.
did not know. And I think the spiritual awakening is the more you know, the more you realize you didn't know.
Don't know anything yet.
You know nothing. And you just got to just put your seatbelt on and go for the ride. And,
My next question is, what's the most valuable lesson that you've learned in life so far?
challenge everything, test everything. Shoot. Be quick to listen and slow to believe. Like I said, man, God he don't want religion. He wants a relationship. There's so many. There's like I wrote them down. I write things down just to remind myself because I still need to train myself. If you don't mind, man, give me a second. It's okay to question. It's okay to question things.
Yep.
Curriculum and school and government and all like it's okay. And I
Actually,
think that
we should be
we
questioning
should.
everything.
Everything.
Yep.
Everything. Because I learned that if what I was hoodwinked for and bamboozled for so many years, what else is a lie?
Mm-hmm.
What else is a lie? I learned that my identity ain't in no group, no nothing, not in what I wear, not my identity is in Jesus now. My identity is that I'm a child of God, and there is freedom to be whatever you want in that. You can be a Democrat or a Republican or a Baptist or you can be whatever you want as long as it's in alignment.
Mm-hmm.
I learned compassion. I have a strong heart, a passionate heart, because I was trapped in that thing for so long that I don't judge nobody. I don't accuse. I look at my people and I say, let them go. And I know that they're held captive. So many, man. There's a lot of life lessons, but the biggest thing is that God is not in a religion.
Mm-hmm.
He's not in a box to where you can put him in and
Yep.
say, this is the only way, you know?
Very good. Last question is, what would be your advice to someone who's going through a spiritual awakening, or they're starting to question things, they're starting to just doubt what they've been raised to believe?
Oh, wow. What would I say to somebody who is like on the verge?
Yeah.
Listen to your intuition.
Mm.
Listen to that voice, to that something. I didn't listen to it I heard it, but I didn't listen. But that's okay. Like, listen to it. If something's telling you, and God is a gentleman, man. He ain't gonna bust in your soul and say, leave. He's gonna be like, here you go, nudge, nudge.
You just some nudges, some gentle nudges.
Gentle nudges, gentle, sweet nudges, because you're free. You're a free agent. So listen to your intuition. Be careful how you leave. If you're gonna leave, be careful who you share your information with, because there's repercussions. And if you do what you're already thinking about doing, you're gonna lose a lot. You are gonna suffer. You're gonna lose. Don't think that leaving this religion, you're leaving God. Please don't think that. That is the biggest heist that they'll tell you, is that you're leaving the religion, you're leaving Jehovah. It's the biggest lie. Find people like yourself, groups, YouTube, who you can speak freely about your feelings with, because not everybody's going to take what you say, especially if your family's in.
Mm-hmm.
Sheesh, what else? Give yourself permission to ask questions, have grace upon yourself, be patient. It's a long process, painful process, and just take your time. Take your time.
Great words. So, Stefan, if someone wants to connect with you, where should they go?
Website. All I really have is 4+3 equals, which is my YouTube channel. I got my testimony on there. I got old music that I've done, a few other videos. Yeah, that's 4 + 3 =. That's my YouTube channel.
Cool.
Yes, sir.
So I'll make sure I link it in the description. And I want to thank you so much for sharing your story, I appreciate your time, and thanks so much for your insights.
Of course, bro. Thank you for having me, man.